Hey YouTube, how you guys doing today? Kevin here coming at you with another video. So this is the Andrew build we're working on, and we are fabricating some motor mounts. I do have to get the bolts. I did not get the bolts. I forgot to get the bolts. But we're going to use KE 100 bolts for now, just to set in there. And then we'll switch them out once we get the proper ones. So where we're at with the bike is we're trying to figure out how we're going to mount it in. And I'm using some tube stock. So I'll show what I'm using. I'm using this 1/2 inch tube stock right here. And then I'm using a 10.3 millimeter drill, and I'm boring it out. Yes, I got that piece stuck on there. Ha ha. Anyway, I got that. So what we're doing with that is, if you look up in here, you can see where the engine is smaller this way. We're making a spacer to fit in here, and now we have to fabricate it so it fits. We have to mount the bottom in. Now the holes aren't going to line up down bottom, so we have to come up with another plan. Now, making brackets and all that type of stuff, yeah, I could do that, but we're going to not do that because we want this bike to be close to factory, and we don't want to drill any holes in the frame. So, and I want to be able to put the original engine back on this frame. Well, I don't have that engine, but when I do get that engine, I'm going to put that engine on this frame. So this is a build for my son Andrew, and it's going to be his first bike. Now this is a KDX50 engine, built by Suzuki for Kawasaki, and it's used on multiple different bikes. It's used on the KDX50. It's used on the LT50 Suzuki four-wheeler and the Suzuki Junior 50. So this engine is readily available. You can get this engine for dirt cheap, as I did, and it's a good little motor. So we're gonna continue plugging away at making the mounts, and so what I had to do is I had to cut some tubes, those tubes down to fit. Here's another one right here for the bottom, and then we're going to modify it as we go. Now mind you, I've never done this before. This is my first time adapting any different engine onto this particular bike. I've done it on other bikes, so we're going to just keep plugging away at it until we get to where we need to go with it. And we're going to use as much factory parts to do this as humanly possible without killing it. So just get right into it. I'm taking off the bottom mounts for the foot pegs and the kickstand. So I have to go on this side over here and zap this one off on this side if I can find it. I found it. Okay, and the motor's right in the way on this one. Alright. The engine. Put the wrench on it. And of course it's not going to fit because of where it is. Alright, so I got an extension. We'll try zapping it out with that. See if I can drop that whole piece down. Okay, good. Got the whole piece knocked down there. Alright, now we got to figure out how we're going to do this without killing the bike. So use a bolt. Should get something to hold that engine up while I'm doing this. Alright, do a jack stand under it. That'll hold the engine up far enough. And then we can go ahead and do the second part of this modification. Go on the inside. Yep, they do. Like that. Put that tube in the middle. Like that. Okay. Then on that one, we'll go get my wrench and stuff and we'll zap that down a little bit. Get on there. Okay. So that part is on there. And then it looks like I'm going to have to drill out that bottom engine mount to the 10.3 millimeter. And then set that in. Okay. So I drilled out the bottom mount to a 10.3 millimeter hole. And now we're going to see if we can line this up, if it'll even fit into these two holes here. I'm not expecting it to, but it might. Okay, looks like we're in there. So we're going to put the spacer on here first. And that might work actually, guys. This might actually work. Okay, hold on. Let me go see the other side, how the other side's looking. Alright. Okay, hold on. Could it be? Could it be an almost? It is an almost. Because I see a modification that needs to be made. But nothing dramatic here. So we definitely have to make a modification right here for the strain plug here. That's easy enough to do. Can notch that out right there on that pipe. And then if we notch that out, it will fit right in there. Let me go get a marker and mark where we have the notch out, and I can notch that out. That's not going to be bad, guys. Okay, so I got it notched out. You can see the notch right there, and hopefully that has clearance for the oil plug. And we'll get the set back in there, and I'll be right back. All right, so I got the bolt through, and now the bike is sitting how the engine is going to be sitting on the frame. Okay, so what we're going to do eventually, not right off the bat, is we want to make sure we got clearance on everything. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So now when I turn this right here, the spark plug will actually have clearance right here. It'll be very close, but it will have clearance. So I got to get a couple of bolts. I got to put another spacer on the back there. And then what I'm going to do is, that's where the pegs are going to be sitting. We're going to take some flat stock, this stuff right here, and we're going to drill holes. We're going to make a 3-bolt bracket to give that bracket some support. And then other than that, that's how the engine's going to be sitting on the frame. It's been crazy. The ignition coil I'm using is from a Kawasaki KV70, a KE100 from a 96 to 2000, and this engine has spark with it because it's a CDI built into it. So it all works. There's the thing right there. Here's the blue hose that's going to be connected up in here to the oil tank. I don't think I can get that out of there, to be honest with you. Not without a pair of pliers. Yeah. So we're going to take that oil line off. This is going to go up underneath there to that. It's going to be nice and blue. And then the wiring's all done. Just wanted to see how it was going to fit on there. There we go. Like this. Like that. And like this. And then this harness will actually be tucked up underneath the frame, so you won't see any of it. Brought up like that, and then reconnected to the rest of the bike via up top here, up underneath the fuel tank. And now the bike is all hooked up properly, so I can zip tie those all up. So the wiring is all done. Show you guys that. So your yellow wire goes into your gray wire for your feed. This red wire right here is your brake light wire. This black with the yellow stripe goes up to your coil and up to your kill switch. And then that part's all done. Next part we have to do is fabricate a longer wire, a longer coil wire. This coil wire is too short, but that's okay. We can do that. The nice thing about these is you can just unscrew them out of the KE100 coil, and they pop right off. It just screws right onto it. And I'll just put a longer wire onto it, take my piston stop out, like so. We'll put the original spark plug back into the motor. If I can. I'm at the wrong angle here. Hold on a second. Let that go in there. Something. Boom. And then this coil wire here will slip onto like that. And then we're going to put a little spacer underneath the, right up underneath here. We're going to put a little half-inch spacer, drop that down just about a ½ inch, so we'll have excellent clearance on here, and then that'll take care of that problem. Here's your ring for your coil wire, and then right here we have to build an engine mount that goes from here to here, which is really easy to do. We're going to take the square stock, or flat stock I should say, we're going to bend it over here into here so we can bolt it down. And then what I'm going to do is this is the factory piece that goes up under here to that. I took this ½ inch piece, it fits right up inside there snug. We're going to weld it right around here. So it's going to drop down. We're going to make the flat stock go over the top of it and just butt weld it right onto it like it was factory, and then it will hook right onto that, and then there will be the front mount. So that's what I'll be doing this week, welding that onto that, do that at work, and then boom, that'll be done. So we're in pretty darn good shape, guys. Just a few more modifications. So we got the engine mounts are in and done, except for the bolts, which we'll have to get, and then the front mount, and then this bike right here will be all bolted in. We'll hook up the chain, hook it all up, get it all situated and set up, and then we got to modify the exhaust after we get that done. So we're not out of the woods quite yet. The modifications are coming along very, very well. Very happy with this bike, and this is going to be really, really cool under the tree. The more I get into it, the more I love this bike even more. Having a vintage classic bike with a newer style engine is just amazing. So that's how I'm going to do that. Right back. Alright, so I just cut down the tube. It's actually telescopic. I can maneuver it to where I need it to go, and then I can mark it. So it's going to be sitting right about there, and then that's going to hold up the front of the engine. We got the back of the engine done, and of course the bottom. So all 3 points of the engine will be bolted up. Just a nice little weld around that. The flat stock, bend it over this and this, drill it out. We're not going to drill this to the 10.3. We're going to keep it at what it is. I think it's an 8. And then that'll be perfect. That'll be really, really perfect. So this is basically dead center right in that thing. So it's going to be nice when it's all said and done. I might be a little off. No, I'm off. It's going to be off to one side. So that's all right. We'll do it. Put it like that. Put the flat stock over it. Basically what we're doing is we're building a factory mount. We're just changing it a little bit. I'll show you. Here's the concept of what we're building. This is the factory one, and I just cut one. I cut this weld right here. I cut it straight right off there, and then I took that 1/2-inch tube, and it slides right inside there, and then I'm basically doing the same thing. So this one right here went basically to the cylinder right here. We're just changing the angle of it and the length of it, really. See? And doing the same concept. And then it will use the same bolt stuff to bolt it up. So that worked out pretty well. Really can't complain about the way this thing is coming out. I'm very, very, very impressed. So we got to fabricate the top, get a couple of bolts for this thing to bolt it up properly, and then put the other sleeve in the bottom, which I already made one, and then that's pretty much it. Drop the fender down just about I don't know, about 5/16 maybe, quarter inch drop. Yeah, quarter-inch drop will be perfect on that. So I'll put a piece of quarter-inch thick space in there, and that'll take care of that whole mess. And then realistically, that's it. I mean, you can't really complain, you know. So then we have the electrical all hooked up. We have the I got to do the coil wire longer, and that's pretty much it for that. Anyway, guys, I got a couple questions I want to get to before the end of the video, so let's go do that real quick. All right. So first off, there is someone who likes to on this channel likes to give me a thumbs down. So I'm going to ask you that if you want to give me a thumbs down, please put a reason why you're putting a thumbs down. This is not exactly the easiest thing for me to do, coming out of my shell and sharing all my information with you guys. So if you don't like my information, please just unsubscribe. You know, I mean, I'm doing the best I can here, so I'm putting my stuff out there for you. Anyway, to all those who do support this channel and give me the thumbs up, thank you very much. We're going to talk about cylinders real quick. TJ from the channel says, Kevin, how much does it cost to have a cylinder re-nickel and bored? So I have a receipt for getting a cylinder done. This was actually for the KV75, not the KV75, the KE102 build, and it cost me $308.90. And you're like, whoa! To bore and replate, okay, and shipping and handling. So I'm going to break this down because the person didn't put it on here. This number right here doesn't work. You can call it if you want, but it ain't going to get me. It ain't going to get me. The shipping and handling, because they had to send it out to be nickel plated. But to bore it was about $80, and the rest of that was for the to be re-nickel, and it was a lot of money. But it was worth it. So boring out a cylinder, especially if you have an old cast iron one, you're looking at about $80 to $100. Okay. To have it re-nickel just the way it was, like say you have some scoring in there and you want to fix that, like that cylinder I have, that's going to cost me about $250. Okay, so there you go for that. In this build, you saw me use the 1/2-inch stock tubing. What did I use to cut it with? I used a plumbing tube cutter. Nothing dramatic, and it cut the tubes nice and straight. And to bore it out, because the motor mount bolts are all 10 millimeter, So this drill bit right here is 10.3 millimeter, just a hair over, and it's 13/64. Okay, so that's the one I used, and I used it for steel. Don't get a wood bit, you ain't gonna do anything with that. Another question I got was torque wrenches. Kevin, I saw you use this old style torque wrench. I do, because a lot of you guys at home use these type of torque wrenches. This thing's about 20 to 30 bucks. It's a Craftsman, okay? Nothing dramatic. As a professional engine builder, we use torque wrenches that look like this. This one costs $550, and it's a Snap-on digital, and it's self-calibrating, and this is the top of the line. This is the cat's meow, you know what I mean? You don't need something like this, okay? I do, because I build engines day in and day out. You guys don't. You guys are just, you know, working on your bikes in your backyard like I'm doing. This is perfect for what you're doing. Both of these torque wrenches do the exact same thing, okay? Keep that in mind. You don't need to go overboard. Anyway, guys, that's what I got for you for today. Thank you for subscribing, and I will talk to you guys later. I'm out!